Drawn to Whitetails is brought to you by these fine sponsors: Wilson Archery, Signet Federal Credit Union, Patriot Buildings, Hibbs Insurance Agency, Chase Motorsports, Citizens Deposit Bank, Black Gold Premium Bow Sights, Shelton Height CPA, Covert Scouting Cameras, Game Hide Unlimited, Big Time, Team Hoyt, Get Serious, Phelps Farm Store, and River Valley Ag Credit. Well, welcome to D2W, Drawn to Whitetails. I am Drew Ramage. I want to lay out this week's show for you real quick. Man, we had an outstanding hunt on October 15th, and there was a good reason for that. Cold front of all cold fronts blew through here. Let me set the stage a little bit, and then we're going to show you the hunt, and I'm going to recap it at the very end. On Saturday, October 14th, it was warm. It was 84 degrees, and that's unseasonably warm for October 14th here in the state of Kentucky. But we had a big change going into Sunday, October 15th. It was 84, 85 on Saturday. At 2 o'clock on Sunday, it was 59 degrees. The front had just blown through and the sun was starting to come out. So me and my son decided to go to a farm that I've been running the covert cameras through for most of the year, checking them about once a month. And we had a spot lined out that a bunch of deer were utilizing, and especially this one big buck. So we loaded up the four-wheeler along with the blind that we had to put in, drove to our location. We put the blind up because we had a stiff 15-mile-an-hour wind. Deer couldn't hear us. And we got in there and got settled up for that afternoon's hunt. Let's let this hunt play out, and then I'm going to explain something about it at the very end of what happened in this hunt. So, hope you enjoy.
It's a hot bug.
He's a bright bug.
That's a young bird, isn't it? That's a quick young bird, isn't it?
It's a little early there, brother. They're looking over. Back down to the left there. There it is.
Boy, seriously.
I don't know. That's a good deer. Can you see it? I think that's him.
No.
He's down there. He's got his head up in the air. Yeah, you see him?
Yeah.
I think that's him.
I don't see any antlers on it.
Can you see him? He's moving. Can you still see him?
Yeah. He's walking right towards
I
us.
know it.
It's not a good shot.
No, it's not. That's him.
And the beams are in the way.
Okay. Can you get to him right there? If you can't, that's okay. I just want to see if you can get on it.
much. We got about 20, 15.
He's walking to this corner.
Say no deep breaths, buddy. Let's see if he makes it all the way to the corner. Can you see him? Oh, he went in the woods.
He just went out of my side.
There's some dogs right there. He's going. Okay, he's gonna be right behind her. See if you can get on him now.
Where is he?
Look out there, you'll see.
I'm on him.
Okay, hold on. Let's see if he stops. I'm not on him. Alright, see if you can get him. I'm not on him. Are you on him?
I lost him.
Are you on him? Huh? Okay.
So I don't know if you could tell from the footage there why my son couldn't get a shot at that big buck. Well, let me just say, we set that blind up and there was a little knob right there in front of the blind. And on top of that knob is about 10 to 12 inches worth of beans. And as you can see in that footage, you can probably see the deer pretty clearly through the top frame of the picture, but the bottom frame you could probably see the beans. Well, my son is sitting about 1.5 feet, maybe even a little bit more lower than that camera, and he could not ever get that deer in scope. We tried to have him stand up and get a shot by extending his shooting stick, but he never felt steady, never really could get a good bead on the deer. So that's the reason he was never able to get a shot at that buck. That buck finally worked his way up the hill, was standing there about 120 yards, maybe even closer than that, broadside. I could see it perfectly in the camera. The camera was picking up more light than his scope could or my binoculars could. I put my binoculars up and all you saw was fuzz. You couldn't really make out the deer. He blended in so perfectly with the beans. So he opted to let that deer walk. He didn't want to put a marginal shot on that deer, and he wasn't as steady as he wanted to. It was heartbreaking to watch that deer walk off, but the good thing is we got out of there. We slipped right off the hill beside us. The wind picked up as we were leaving. That deer has no idea we were even in the woods. So we're going to be back in there after him next weekend during the muzzleloader season. So stay with Drawn to Whitetails, and let's see if we can put a conclusion with Ross and the 7-pointer to see if he can kill that buck. But anyway, if you are looking at the weather and you see a big front coming and you're able to get off work or you're able to get in the woods, capitalize on that change that gets the deer on their feet. We're going to be getting into the end of October too. Bucks are going to start cruising. I hadn't seen any cruising activity. I did see that one little buck chasing some does that were already in the field or in the woods there. He chased them out into the field, but they're not really seeking yet. So that's going to be kicking off here in a couple weeks. You get a cold front, jump in there after them. Well, that's going to do it for Drawn to Whitetails. We hope you enjoyed this hunt as much as we did, and we hope to get that buck on the ground before too long. As we always say, the season never ends.